Good morning, everybody. Tuesday, right. Starting another series, 5-minute fundamentals. Okay, so every day, every second day, I'll just choose a little topic just to throw out there, something you can learn in 5 minutes. Might help you throughout your day, might not, might, reinforce your clarity a bit, whatever it might be. Okay, so the first 5-minute fundamental. Okay, I'm going to talk about biological filtration and what drives it. Okay, so let's simplify this and talk about just nitrifying bacteria. Okay, just autotrophic nitrifying bacteria. Okay, these bacteria need oxygen. They require a food source and they require a fuel source, essentially. So their oxygen in the water. Obviously, we know we can't maintain biological filtration without oxygen in the water. And we need to have a certain level of ammonia in the water, and then that will get turned into nitrite, and then that will get turned into nitrate. So ammonia or nitrite is the food. Now, the fuel is alkalinity, or carbonates and bicarbonates. So you need to maintain, for robust biological filtration, you need to maintain a minimum of about 40 to 50 ppm of alkalinity. Now, I will say alkalinity, but I will also say that carbonate hardness is also a interchangeable term. Alkalinity, carbonate hardness is all a term for the buffering capacity of water, okay? The higher your KH, characteristically, the higher your pH will be. So in a lower pH system, say an aquaponics system, or say a discus or a tetra tank, okay, where you're maintaining a lower pH, if you're not using phosphate-based buffers and things to get it down there, generally speaking, the carbonate hardness is going to be a lot lower. So you might be maintaining 10 or 20 to maintain a pH of 6.5 to 7 or somewhere around there, which means you need to add more often and more frequently because it gets chewed up at the same rate, but you haven't got as big of a reserve there, okay? So what I'm getting at is that if you do not maintain an alkalinity reserve or a carbonate hardness reserve, and that carbonate hardness depletes, it will either slow down or stop your nitrification. What happens then is your pH starts to drop and or crash. So that affects your nitrifying bacteria as well as your fish. Okay, so everything goes into shock. Point being, maintain your alkalinity. Alkalinity and pH, very, very important, as well as this relationship of CO2 with carbonic acid as well. That's important. Okay, so in a nutshell, we need, say we're transferring ammonia to nitrite, we need ammonia, we need oxygen, and we need carbonates. And what comes out of that is nitrite, water, and CO2, okay? CO2 then needs to be gassed off so it doesn't bind with the alkalinity in the water and bind with the water and create carbonic acid, which is going to artificially lower your pH. And we'll talk about pH and CO2 and carbonates in another fundamentals, okay? So you need to maintain your alkalinity, you need to maintain your pH, and you need to buffer your pH for your species. Obviously, in aquaculture, technically speaking, unless you're running an aquaponic system, a coupled aquaponic system, I might, make that distinction. Coupled, decoupled, you can run a higher pH in the fish system, but coupled, you need to maintain it lower. But in a normal aquaculture system, you'd be running anywhere between 80 to 150 ppm, with the amount of CO2 in a moderately stocked system, generally speaking, with no CO2, with that level of alkalinity, you might be maintaining 8. With the level of CO2 in the water, you might be maintaining something like 7.6 to 7.8, somewhere around there. In the tank, obviously, after we degas and everything else happens. So fundamentals are nitrification in a biofilter, in a fish tank, wherever it may be. You need the food source, which is the ammonia or the nitrite. You need oxygen, so you need to maintain that. Your biofilter needs to be well oxygenated, not choked out by biofilm and buildup of crap. And you need alkalinity. that is the fundamentals. That is the basis of it. Obviously, there's different sorts of bacteria that nitrify different ways, and certain ways things go in. And then you've got denitrification, which is another thing altogether. But in a nutshell, that is nitrification. That is how a biofilter works. And as long as you maintain a healthy biofilter free of solids, and you maintain oxygen, and you maintain alkalinity, you will find that you will not have a problem with your biofilter functionality and health. Happy days. See you tomorrow.